Have you heard me say that it's not whether we get out of bed at night or whether we exercise or whether we take a pill or whether we get up the same time every morning that matters, but the intent behind what we do. That is what truly matters. If so, you might have thought, but what if my intent is mixed? What if I have like mixed intent with what I do? If so, you've asked yourself what I think of as the most common question that we actually never hear of. I was honestly shocked the other week when this question came up of like, what if my intent is mixed? And I thought this has never really come up, but I'm surely it must be quite a common question because it did come up. So excited to talk about this. It's I think a really helpful teaching here. And just to give you a quick backstory, it was actually one of our coaches in training, Pauline, and myself. We were answering questions from the community together, which we do as part of our coaching training. And Pauline brought this up. It's like, she was like, sometimes our intent is mixed. And I was like, that's true. And this question is very, very helpful to go over. So we're going to look at this as like, we say, when I say we, it's like myself and all the other coaches, we really say that intent is what matters. But what if it's mixed? And I want to start here by talking about our first principle. The most fundamental principle of our way is the principle of effortlessness, which basically says that peaceful sleep and peace of mind are effortless. They require nothing. And my classic kind of proof of concept here is if you ask somebody who sleeps well, let's say, and ask them like, what do you do to sleep so well? They will reveal the secret and, provide proof for this principle by saying, I don't know. There you can see like that's a secret. They like, I don't know. The question itself doesn't seem to really make any sense. Like, what do you do to sleep so well? And they're like, I don't know. And that just proves that there is no effort there, and effortlessness leads where we want to be. And so this often translates into the following kind of question answer scenario, which somebody asks like, hey, Daniel, should I get out of bed when I can't sleep? And I will answer something like, it's not about that. It's the intent that matters. And to expand a little bit on this, like if the intent with getting out of bed is to make sure that we don't associate the bed with being awake so that we now can achieve more sleep, this we can see is a path of effort. We're sort of trying to have control, try to manipulate our own brain and our thoughts, etc. And this leads to more struggle, actually, because it's a path of more effort. If, on the other hand, if the intent with getting out of bed is to make this a moment easier, just do something we feel like, if we do something that makes it easier to be awake, more acceptable to be awake, more okay that we're feeling anxious, this is a path towards less effort, less resistance, and less struggle, and more peaceful sleep. And so when I say that the intent is what matters, I believe 100% that this is true. I believe this is true. But then comes this question, what if my intent is mixed? What if my intent is mixed? So, what if it's something like, partly I'd like to stay in bed, actually. Let's say somebody says, I've decided that I'm actually, if I'm awake at night and I'm feeling kind of anxious, I'm going to just stay in bed. And the intent with that is partly because that's just what feels nice to me. So partly is like no effort, no struggle, just what feels nice. It makes me feel more okay with being awake and being anxious. It's just staying there. So part of the intent is like effortless, but partly I see that I'm kind of also hoping that by staying in that I'll fall asleep sooner. And there is a little bit of effort there, So here we have this like mixed intent. And this was just one example, but the same thing happens when people ask like, should I exercise during the day? And it can be mixed. It can be partly because like I just feel like exercising, something like it's aligned with my values and I like to do that. But then part of it can be like, but I also kind of hope that exercising will make me sleep faster, right? We can have this mixed intent, very often, right? And then the kind of follow question then becomes, okay, so when you say that intent is that matters, what if it's mixed? Is this a problem? Do I need like 100% pure, pristine intent? And if so, like how do I achieve that? And you can almost just smell it here, that If we think that I have to have pure intent, it can become its own struggle where we're like, I have to think this way. I have to monitor my own thoughts. I have to make myself think a different way, and then we kind of judge ourselves if we don't, etc. You can see this, right? And so with this in mind, I want to answer the kind of mixed intent question here with 2 points. And the first one is the following. Number one, being human, in my humble opinion, is not compatible actually with pure, pristine, 100% unchanging, unwavering intent. That is not how we humans work. We're much more complex than that. So in other ways, our intent to a large degree is always mixed and it's always changing, from moment to moment. So the first thing I want to really point out here is that if you see within yourself this kind of like mixed intent or changing intent, this is an invitation to see that you're one of us humans. This is a totally human, normal thing. And, trying to achieve pure intent is not real, like it's not human, and it in itself leads to more effort and struggle. So first point here, mixed intent, completely human, totally normal. Now that still doesn't kind of answer the question of like, well, but it's totally human, but can it potentially not be a problem? Well, this leads us to number 2, which is how I see it is that awareness of mixed intent actually in itself leads us to where we want to be. Now, to expand on that, let's say you had like there was this scenario. Let's use this classic scenario of like somebody who decides, if I wake up at night and I feel anxious, I'm just going to stay in bed. I'm just going to stay in bed. And that feels easier to me. But there's also a little bit of mixed intent there. Like I also kind of hope it will make me fall asleep sooner. So we have a little bit of intent is effort. A little bit of intent is like mixed, is effortless. So it's both there. The way I see it is the following. When our brain understands that the portion of the intent that was effort, that was kind of like hoping we'd fall asleep, I hope this works, that portion led us to some struggle if that happens, led us to stay awake longer, be more anxious, have more struggle. This portion will fade by itself because the brain actually is our friend. It wants us to have a nice experience. It doesn't want us to struggle. So when it understands this, that the portion that was effort led to struggle, this portion will automatically decrease and fade. Similarly, when our brain understands that the portion of the intent that was effortlessness, that was actually what led to peace that time. When we fell asleep without struggle, we slept peacefully, we had a peaceful day, and our brain understands that, that came from the portion of intent that was, okay with being awake, okay with feeling anxious, the effortless portion. That portion grows by itself for the same reason. Our brain is this kind of AI machine that when it has this awareness, it automatically leads where we want to be. So finally here, I just want to say the following in this kind of summary, that although none of us humans will have like pure, pristine, unchanging intent, as we have awareness, well, that portion of our intent that is effortlessness will lead us to a place where, things will always be up and down and back and forth a little bit, but it will lead us to a place where we aren't engaged in an ongoing inner struggle, where we are in a more peaceful place. So I hope this brought a lot of value to you. Let me know if you have had this question in the comment section. That would be really helpful. Other than that, I will just say that if you're finding your way through our free content to that place we just talked about, where things are more peaceful and you're not struggling, that is wonderful. Do let us know. On the flip side, if you find that it's not clear how to contextualize our teachings to your situation, if you feel alone, if you feel isolated, if things don't feel clear, if you're not feeling like who you want to be, who you want to feel like, then please head over to our website and check out our coaching options. And if you decide to join one of our programs, then we look forward to seeing you on the inside. That said, look forward to seeing you soon again. And until then, bye-bye.